Welcome to the Positively No Gambling Podcast, the pro football show that is definitely not about betting. My name is Glenn Fraser. It is Friday, August 22nd, and this is the 2025 team preview for the New England Patriots. Okay, the Patriots, a fun one to talk about. So much has changed. So as a reminder of the format, we'll look at two big questions from the start of the offseason. We'll recap 2024, preview 2025, look at some advanced stats and trends and some early against the spread leans based on the look ahead lines. Conclude on those two big questions and then give out a preliminary over under pick for season win totals. The final over under pick will be part of the conference previews that we'll post right before the season starts. So with that said, let's dive into the Pats. Okay, so the two big questions. Can they overhaul the entire team? Obviously, Mike Vrabel joining as their head coach is the big macro change in the offseason. And can Drake May level up? Most people that know anything like this kid a lot and loved how well he played given the disastrous team that was around him. But for them to become an actual playoff contender, division contender, they're going to need May to play even better with an improved roster. So to recap 2024, which was a disaster, they were 4-13, which was dead last in the AFC East. They missed the playoffs. They fired their coach. They started off 1-6. They ended 1-6. They were 1-5 against playoff teams. They had an easy schedule and a lucky schedule, but it didn't really matter. Um, just a disastrous situation. And they are looking to overhaul the entire team and bring this back to the Patriots way and the Patriots standards. Okay, let's look at the offensive overview. There were plenty of additions. In terms of what they lost Okoronkwo, tackle to the Jets. They lost backup Jacoby Brissett to the Cardinals, backup Joe Milton to Dallas. They traded him, so they got some draft capital. In terms of who they added, long list. Stephon Diggs, they got from Houston. They obviously drafted Will Campbell with the fourth pick. Drafted Travion Henderson with, I think, their second round pick or third round pick. Added Morgan Moses as another tackle from the Jets. Garrett Bradbury, a center from Minnesota. Mac Hollins, kind of a backup rotational receiver they got from Buffalo. Josh Dobbs, the backup quarterback from San Francisco. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kyle Williams was another draft pick that they made. So potentially 5 out of the 11 starters are new. So a big upgrade seemingly on the offensive line, and that's really where they struggled. Annan Campbell, Bradbury, and Moses. So this looks like an improved offensive line. They really had a terrible skill set, skill position players last year. They added Diggs, Williams, Henderson. So this on paper looks like a much better team than last year, but how could you really be worse? Now the defense, same thing. Bunch of new names, new faces. And lost Jonathan Jones, cornerback to Washington. Dietrich Wise, edge rusher to Washington. None of these guys were really major losses. In terms of what they added, they really focused. They had a lot of cap space and they focused almost exclusively on the defensive side of the ball in free agency. Milton Williams came over from Philly. Carlton Davis came over from Detroit. Robert Spillane from Vegas, linebacker. Tonga, nose tackle, coming over from Arizona, and Landry the third, who's a pretty damn good edge rusher, or has been in the past, comes over from Tennessee. They drafted, most of their draft was focused on the offense, but they drafted safety Craig Woodson, who's looking potentially to play nickel or maybe rotational safety in their defense. In terms of their blue chippers, Christian Gonzalez is probably the only guy who could be considered a blue chipper. Milton Williams, Spillane are talented free agents that are hopefully for them, for the Pats, going to continue to be show their potential and maybe even grow in terms of their effectiveness on the defense. The X factor is going to be the free agent signings. Five new starters, probably. If they hit on a majority of these guys, we really could be talking about a much improved defense along with the obvious coach upgrades. There's no make or break. This is a brand new team entirely, but they'll have to really, really improve over 25 if they want any success this over 24, sorry, if they want any success in 25. So looking at the schedule, this is when people are bullish on New England, it's because of the schedule combined with the coaching changes and the schedule with good reason. Looks like they've got at worst the third easiest schedule in football. Um, at worst, the second easiest home schedule. The only they don't play one playoff team at home besides Buffalo, which they play at home every year. Um, well, Pittsburgh too. Sorry. So Pittsburgh is the only non-division playoff team from 24 that they're playing at home, and that is why so many people are optimistic. Now, obviously, the last 5 years of the Patriots are a very skewed sample because of how much has changed with their quarterback, with their coaching, etc. But they are not a great team at covering the spread at home. So this very easy schedule might not be as easy as it looks because of that, at least when it comes to covering the spreads. Uh, Only 5 games versus playoff teams. So looks on paper, this looks damn easy. Let's look at some of the advanced stuff from last year. They technically underachieved by a game, but they were such a disaster that number is so low you could throw that out. They were 3-6 in close games. If that improves, they will improve. Their turnover differential for fumbles was a disaster. That will revert. Strength of schedule, we talked about, actually got easier, but their schedule luck was pretty favorable. Terrible O-line, which looks to have been improved. Pass rush was not great. Run stop was not great. I don't know how much they did to really move the needle there, but we'll see. Um, Early leans that I like against the spread. 2 home games against two pretty bad teams. Week 8 against the Browns. They're 5.5 point favorite, which, look, should a team that finished as poorly as the Pats did last year be favored against anybody this year by more than a couple points? I don't know. But if you like the Pats and you hate the Browns, 5.5, that number could jump to 8.5 by the time they play this game in week 8. Same thing with the Jets. 5 points might on paper look to be too much considering where the Jets finished last year versus the Pats. But if you project this team to be pretty good, 5.5 may be a bargain. Definite indications of positive regression, but the schedule luck and the nuances of that schedule are something that you really should watch for before you blindly take an over. Okay, so did they address the two big questions? Did they overhaul this team? Probably. Will it be nearly enough to turn this into a real contender? I have my doubts. And will Drake May level up? I think he will. The question is, does he have the amount of talent that will lead to a much better offense, a much better record? 7.5 is the right over under. I'm gonna go under very mild. I definitely think they'll be a tougher out, but I still think they will be a team that is far below the league average in terms of talent. These indications of positive regression are real, but they're also built into this over-under. They've priced this up higher so that to take an over really is a risk. They would have to double their 24 win total to cover an over. Doubling your win total for any team, even if it's the starting point is four, is not very easy. Um, I'm not buying the hype with New England. I could be easily proven wrong. I just think that there's too much of a talent gap. Sure, they'll improve on last year, but that's not saying much. I think seven is that number, which makes taking an under pretty risky because you would only get a half a game cushion. But I'm not buying the blind over here. I wouldn't buy them to make the playoffs. I wouldn't buy them to Vrabel to win Coach of the Year. Any of that stuff. I'm just not seeing it. There's very few blue chippers on this team, and even with an easy schedule, we know how schedules go. What looks easy now could end up being much more difficult in the future when they actually play these games. So I'm going to take the under on New England. So that concludes the Pats preview. Join us tomorrow. We'll be previewing, oh my God, the New Orleans Saints. That's going to be a fun one. Have a good one.